Doesn't really feel like the support Doom matches the with the Chen, but I suppose only time will tell. No, it is going to be a core Doom as the Mirana does pop up. So KP Doom, I mean, he's had a bit rough. He's been playing Abaddon Viper most of the time. This is something different. Do you have
It should give him a
confidence
bit more
in it?
presence. It should give him a bit more presence. I think if you made him lane with a Chen, that is super potent. Cignal, they do pick up that Legion Commander, so overall, based on how the games have been panning out, Cignal's draft is looking a bit stronger. They've got that Puck, which we've seen a lot of flexibility from. They've got the Legion Commander, which has consistently done well. I think these jungle changes really just help Legion Commander really come out onto its own. TNC, they fall back to that Dragonite, and we have seen this hero do a lot of work for other teams. It stays alive so damn long if you don't have a right lineup for it. But there are cases where we see it falter. Specifically, we saw it really melt to a Drow Ranger of all things. And you can get stuck in those kinds of situations where you've got an ultra durable core, but you guys just don't have the damage to actually kill the enemy team anyways. So the fights end up longer, but you end up losing. So we'll see whether or not TNC does run into that issue. They're going to need a really strong pause 1 to give them the damage they need. Otherwise, they're actually looking pretty good. It's a really decent draft. I think the one issue is they don't have the hardest lockdown outside of expending a Doom on a target. So the Puck could go in and out quite fine if you don't want to toss the Doom out. You're not going to be catching that Puck. And, Cignal could still go for an ultra slippery hero here as well. We could see the Ember Spirit come out once more. We could see something like the Storm Spirit, although that one is... I believe, again, that one was only picked up by Fnatic recently, at least in Southeast Asia. But that is still an option there for Cignal if they want to try it out.
Oh, the Slark will pop out. I guess that's one
a great
way.
Response.
It's one way of working out how to beat the DK, right? If you can steal the stats away from the DK, I suppose it does kind of work. I mean, you've got as well the Mirana who loves to leap away, but with that pounce, it won't be as easy once the Slark's in range. Is it really though a direct counter towards the DK? I mean, the high armor is still a massive problem.
Oh yeah, no, I'd say it is.
Okay.
I'd say the Slark really does enjoy these high strength heroes, mainly because he's just going to build up a lot more. He gets really, really strong, and that allows you to burst down everyone else quite fast, or at the very least build up for yourself while you're sieging towers. It makes it that much faster. With all the stacks you build up, don't forget Slark is a natural silver edge carrier as well. So that just works out quite nicely for Cignal. I like that response, and I think there's a lot of value in that pick. You're not going to be able to sneak in something like a Bloodseeker in TNC's draft anymore. I mean, I guess you could run it as a 1, but it's just very hard. And there's that slippery hero I was talking about. You don't have the best stuns for it. You're going to have to expend a Doom on either the Puck or the Ember Spirit or the Slark. One of these heroes will manage to get away. You don't have the hardest stuns from TNC.
That's very true. We saw last game, Jamesy, he did have a pretty darn good performance. Went the physical build, which is something you wouldn't really expect out of the Embers these days, but it did pan out very well. This time around, I'm sure he'll go for the magic build as he is up against that DK, which, does have very, very high armor. Still, though, TNC, and he closes this off, you still need a mid laner. They still have, or excuse me, they don't have the laner. I thought they may have, but they banned it out themselves. What do you go into? Do you try something like the Brood again? No? Okay, so position 1 Void mid DK then?
Does look that way. It's not too bad. You do have some potency in that Chronosphere. TNC would be a team that does play around that kind of timing quite well. And it really screws over all these high mobility heroes from Cignal. You catch that Slark or the Ember Spirit, whoever's not inside, you just doom up, and you can't take control in these fights. You will have to build up farm on the Void and the DK just a bit. It's not really that farm dependent. Like, Faceless Voids we've seen really take off after even just Tread's Midas, and they can just expend their Chrono, find a couple of kills. Or Tread's Maelstrom. DK is the same kind of thing as well. Doesn't take too long to really start at least applying pressure to towers. So TNC, it looks a bit better off this time around. Cignal is still pretty potent though. Jamesy backing that Ember, we saw that last time. it was really potent, and it could cause massive issues here again.
Absolutely could. Still though, TNC, some great late game with their draft. I mean, you let the DK go too late and you let the Faceless Void get too late, it's becomes a real issue for the side of Cignal. They'll try and get the advantage early on with this draft and hopefully push through the mid game. TNC definitely want to drag this out if they can afford to. Of course, we haven't seen Armel on the DK. We've only been seeing Gabby, but I imagine it will be a similar performance between the two. Well, it's really just going to be about the lanes, like who gets the advantage first. But certainly for the Radiant side, they can't really afford to fall behind with the Slark and the Ember. It just will not pan out well for them if they do.
I think this time around, TNC, with the Doom for KP, should have a better time that offlane, which should help in their early game. Like, that's one thing with TNC so far. In the past 2 days, they've been giving KP some really, I want to say passive heroes. They've just been kind of slow to start, slow to play, slow in lane. So just giving him something that is a bit more active, at the very least once you hit maybe like level 3, level 4, is a better sign. Perhaps KP can kind of show us that offlane performance we kind of expect from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we do have a quick pause coming out from TNC. Looks like Gabby may be having some connection issues going on. Of course, TNC, a lot of pressure. They need to pull off this win. Otherwise, they do lose their major slot, and Cignal Ultra will go straight through to the major.
Yeah, I mean, even if TNC does drop out, of course, they're going to be in the minor qualifiers, I believe. And if they go through there, of course, they can still go to the majors by winning the minor, which is a bit of a tall order. Don't get me wrong, that's going to be a very big one to do. But they still have that lifeline, I suppose. Would rather not go that route, of course. Both teams really don't want to have to play an entire tournament for a shot. They would prefer to just go straight up to the major. Much safer that way.
I mean, in all fairness to TNC, though, they've basically qualified for TI-10 anyway. So
pretty much.
It's not too big of a deal.
With the way the teams have played, yeah, like you've won one major, you're pretty much in the top for DPC. So I mean, you could sit back and relax, sure, but I don't think you'd want to do that. It just kind of sounds a bit too lax, and I don't reckon TNC is that lax.
No, I doubt it as well.
Caught out. They've just been really caught out by the patch, I guess.
Certainly can agree with that one. There will be maybe a little bit of a fight over those bounty runes. Top lane, they're going to say hello to each other as well. Of course, that position for Puck, such an annoying hero to be up against. It just hits so hard. It's just always useful as well with that Dream Core. KP going to walk in, trying to steal this banner rune, but Nando does pick it up. It will be a 3-for-1 trade once again for the side of Cignal Ultra. And Tim's is actually going to cop a fair bit of damage on his way out.
Yeah, that's going to be rough. If Grims can keep applying that pressure, this offlane might actually not go as well as you'd want it to for TNC. The dual lane of Mirana Doom has some potential. I don't think the Doom's going to be really helping out and setting up for that Mirana anytime soon, though.
Probably not. But Tim's really doesn't seem to need it. Like, he seems to be able to land these arrows fairly consistently, even without the setup. Keep an eye on it, though. Looks like Grims is not planning to make it any easier for the side. In fact, TNC, Tim's?
Damn.
Tim's is dead!
Oh, Grims. You never underestimate an Elder Titan who gets enough stacks in the Astral Spirit. You do not. You have to respect that big guy with a stapler gun. It hurts! It is a stapler gun, though.
It is, sir. It is. Grims casually works in an office after he's finished with these games.
Ooh, man. I mean, you take a look at Doom. He has basically zero armor, right? The Basilius is giving him some, but this is something that Grims can really exploit.
Certainly can. Of course, we have to have a quick look at the other lanes, where Van is struggling a bit up that top lane. March is providing quite a bit of harassment. And unlike KYXY's build that we've been seeing over and over again, looks like Van has prioritized going for the moment of courage rather than the press the attack. So he doesn't really have as much sustainability right now. Well, now he does have the press the attack, so things go a little bit more back to normal. Certainly was getting abused early on while not having it. Meanwhile, Eris creating some harassment with March on the Chen. The Puck has the position for. Like, his right-click damage is so darn high. It's very frustrating for March to have to even try to have this harass war with the Puck.
It's gonna be rough. Like, as long as Arius manages to progress through levels just fine, at least match the Chen, you're not really gonna have a bad time this dual lane. Sure, you're not gonna harass out these heroes, but you should be okay where you are. I think he just wanted to reset. Probably. There was no one to chase. No one was slow.
Was he not TPing? Am I seeing things? His TP is not on cooldown. What was that animation?
Yeah, no. I'm not sure.
Maybe I was just seeing things, John. May have been a taunt or something. Was just a denial. Of course, looking into that mid lane, Armel, top of the last hits board, 19 and 3 on the DK. Jamesy at 14 and 2, so Armel definitely seems to have the advantage. And well, while that's happening, Eris does find a courier. It was Gabby's on the Void, so he does take that out for a bit. Both teams just happy to trade farm for now. We're about 3.5 minutes into this game. Eris looking to see if he can find perhaps more couriers. Meanwhile, bot. Oh, there's a pounce that goes out. Nando, he will find Tim's on the Mirana, but there won't be much follow-up to it. In fact, Nando almost cops an arrow to the backside. Does barely avoid it. KP trying to apply some pressure with the Scorched Earth, and he certainly does force them to back off his Mirana.
Yeah, it's at these levels that the Doom and Mirana can really start applying that harass. Nando should be a bit careful. He's still pretty happy in this lane. 20-8, 21-8. Pretty much up there in the last hits chart, so doing quite well for himself despite it.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
This mid lane still favoring Armel. Of course, with the Breathe Fire, it's hard for Jamesy to really contest this. Because he does have the Flame Guard, but it's not really as effective as you would hope up against these DKs. Jamesy take a few more creep kills, but Armel starting to get a bit aggressive. He does throw out the Dragon Tail. Doesn't have the mana for the Flame... Oh, he does now with the Mango, and he will find it. Armel finding a very important pickup in the mid lane. It's going to certainly help his farm. Well, James, you've got to be a little bit more careful up against the damage output of the DK.
It's going to be a bit rough here for Ember Spirit, just because that matchup does favor the Dragon Knight, and because, again, he just punishes sort of physical chorus. It's way too tanky to bully out unless he gets a support rotation.
Well, meanwhile, bot lane, Tims ends up finding the Order Titan. Nice little pickup from him. And they were just fighting over the bounty runes. Tims eventually does get his revenge up against that ET. Two for 3 now. And that's the 1k net worth lead for TNC. Everything seemingly going pretty smoothly for them. Surprisingly though, Gabby is a little bit behind in terms of last hits. Van has actually overtaken 29 and 4 on the Legion and 21 and 2 on the Void. It looks like the pressure being applied from the Cignal side is going to be slowing him down.
It is very conservative play here from Gabby, understandably so. I mean, all he really has to play around it is one spell that does give him a bit of a escape mechanism, basically. So he's not able to pump out that harass himself. We did see March just trying to trade blows with Eris for a while. He's not really able to maximize his presence with the creeps to force Van out, which means Van can really just trade hits.
That's exactly what he keeps doing.
Catch us if you can. Die hungry.
Back at bot lane, KP. Starting to catch up in farm. He was a little bit low in terms of last hits, but that was expected. Of course, with the Devourer, you can catch up in net worth pretty darn easily anyway, so it's not too much of a concern for him. Like Tim's may have a go at Grims, but no, doesn't throw the arrow out. Just wants to ensure that his Doom gets away from this Elder Titan. Top lane, March. Again, trying to harass out Eris, but Eris will just go in with the orb. Then just gets the hell out as well. Just want to contest these jungle camps. March, though, still trying to get them himself. He'll be forced to back off. TNC starting to go towards, once again, the Ember Spirit. Arrow will fly in from Tim's as well, and the Flame Guard will eventually wear off, but he did have Remnant available. He does barely manage to get out in time. Now, he had a regen rune bottled up as well, so he just returns back into the lane with full mana, full HP. It's like nothing ever happened. Meanwhile, Eris going to chase down Tim's on the Mirana. Doesn't really have level 6 yet, so can't lock this Mirana down. Tim's will just kind of juke him out, get back to farming in the jungle.
Yeah, again, we're just seeing very conservative plays from both sides, very controlled aggression as well, so you're not seeing anything too wild just yet. We are starting to see KP creep skip a bit, so he's at that point with a Doom where he can kind of just play far forward like this. He has his level 6 up. They are just killing each other's couriers as well.
Poor couriers. What do they ever do wrong? Top lane Gabby will commit the first chrono of the game onto Van, but doesn't really have the damage output though still. They will chase him down and they do get a nice little bash. And so eventually March will be the one to pick up the kill onto Van. And so first chrono of the game will be successful though. Eris gets bashed. Almost doesn't jaunt away in time, but he does get out. Bit of a risky play from him. Well, James, you got to be a little bit careful in that mid lane as Tim's was roaming around, but it looks like he will just remnant back out towards the jungle and start firing up camps there instead. And KP could be in big trouble as Nando now has rotated with 2 other heroes. And KP does throw his Doom out and will run straight into the Radiant side base, but there's no way he gets out of that. The kill will go to Jamesy at the very least, so the Slark doesn't pick it up, but you still do get that permanent agility his way. Meanwhile, top Van falling very low once again and does end up going down on the Legion Commander.
That is the offlane for offlane. I do believe TNC is going to be much happier with that because they do expend a lot of time from Cignal's side. They did have to waste the Doom for that though. Still, that does buy them some space across the map, and they are keeping Cignal right in check.
Armel going after Grims. The Stomp will connect. And looks like that'll be it. Grims will walk away safely. Now Nando will come in. Doesn't really go for the pounce onto Armel. Just gives him a few hits and walks away. Looks like Nando wants to be able to finish off that Yasha quickly to, you know, start escalating in farm. He has queued up a Shadow Blade next as well. And Nando has been doing pretty well. 4.3k net worth on Slark. Just behind the DK at 5.3, so Armel is still at the top. But in terms of timings, Nando should be able to be pretty effective. In fact, he finds a courier as well on his way to the Tide jungle.
Oh, all these couriers dying, Mike. Pretty
Sad.
cool.
Very sad indeed. Still Nando. Gonna run into Tim's now on the Mirana, though he looks like he wants to try and go for this fight. No pounce being committed yet. He holds out on it. Had the Shadow Dance available, but looks like he just didn't want to risk it. In fact, he's still roaming around. Does find himself a Cobalt. It was a bit conservative from Nando. He probably could have tried for that. But thinks better of it.
Yeah, I don't reckon he had enough damage through the pounce duration, so it probably wouldn't have been a kill anyway. The leaps would have been right there at the end of it, so it would have been a pretty hard one to pull off.
Still sticking around up at that top lane. Looks like he may try for March, and now he does commit the pounce. Looks like March is a much easier target, although I say that. March just runs around the T1 tower. Moonlight Shadow comes in, and now Nando has to get out, but there's a chrono available from Gabby, and that is disastrous. They found Van as well on the LC. They won't have the damage up, but now Era's trying to find the trade, but there's a mech on March. He will survive. And now they will chase down this puck. Dreamcore comes out. Remnants in. March does get jeweled up and will give a victory away. And now they could find the Void. Do they have the lockdown? They certainly do. So what started off pretty badly for the side of Cignal does turn out into a positive trade their way.
I mean, you'd really prefer not to lose your pause 1 for that, but you did force out the chrono. You still found that Void. And you got the dual win on your Legion Commander. Overall, that is a bit of a win. Force the rotation out from KP up top as well. So you've got some space around the map for a couple of other heroes to find some farm.
Tim's getting pounced on now by Nando. He does have 2 leap charges available, so Tim's will just wait till he's on the cliff and does get away. But now the Remnant's in, and yeah, Jamesy, he's found him. Nice little double damage there for Jamesy as well. It's a 6-6 now. The one saving grace for TNC is still the DK being played by Armel. He has his Blink Dagger now up as well on the DK. So I suppose he can start getting involved in these team fights. But Cignal Ultra certainly isn't making it easy.
They definitely are. Cignal is still keeping pretty good in pace. It's 6-6. A 3K net worth lead for TNC is pretty nice to start out with. And they are still progressing in their itemization, but you can't afford to give Cignal any way back into this game. We have seen them claw back in and take the advantage later on, even if they have a bit of a rough start. So TNC has to play this consistently. They have to make sure those items come out and they get used up in a positive way.
Mango Tree being found out by Nando now. See how they do use it. Just gonna hold on to it for now in the backpack. That vision from the Mango Tree is very, very valuable. Cignal may just put it on a cliff, as we've seen multiple times. In fact, Nando does get lucky and find himself a boundary rune as well, so helping out the team a little bit. Looks like at top lane there is going to be an engagement as they jump in onto KP, though Doom is there. Arrow will not connect though on the Ember. Still Dreamcall holding everyone else back, letting the Ember get out just for now. Still he's copying a fair bit of damage as KB still chasing him down. The Doom should wear off very, very soon and they just keep him alive. Jamesy somehow survives all this, but now the Chrono. Gabby, he found 3 of them and that should be enough to take all of them out, and it will be. Very nice play by TNC. It looked kind of bad for a while, but Gabby does save the day.
It's a massive win for TNC, and that should give them the tier 1 up top as well. They found some pretty big kills. The only saving grace there for Cignal was that Nando was not around, so he is still farming up. He hasn't progressed in items just yet, but he will soon.
Bot lane. The outpost being taken. Rotations are coming in from the Radiant side, though the puck does get caught out by Armel. Now James, he just wants to get out as he doesn't have the backup here. We'll just commit all his remnants to do so. There is a bit of a wraparound from Gabby. If he can get lucky with some bashes, he could set up. There's 1, there's 2. Nando does have Shadow Dance though. This TNC weren't able to catch up in time to jump the Slark. Still, TNC certainly feeling the groove now. 6k net worth lead at 15.5 minutes in. It's starting to turn into their game to throws. I mean, with the Void, he's going to Maelstrom up. Armel farming so well as well. It's very hard to see TNC losing team fights for a very long time.
Yeah, it's certainly in their favor. They have all the tools needed so far, and Cignal, they're not quite there yet. They still are waiting for that silver edge on Nando. Still quite a ways. He also has the SNY, the Sanj queued up for that. So So he could go for that as well, but 16 minutes in, a 7k net per deficit, and an advantage for TNC. They are kind of maximizing this quite well. They've taken a good amount of map control away. It is a bit of a better story than game 1. They just got to maintain it a bit more. If they use the next few chronos well, they can really start to seal out this map entirely.
It looks like Van trying to use the space being given by TNC. He'll take the tier 1 top tower. Hims will just come in, take the siege creep. Tries to go for the deny with the leap, but won't be successful in doing so. The Cignal do at least get a tower for their trouble. They'll continue farming up. They understand they are falling behind. As I say that, Nando will pick up the full Sergeant Yasha now, so certainly some extra stats for him to try and make work through these engagements. He's going for that Silver Edge straight away next, and of course that is purely for that DK. Armel though, not going to be too concerned. He's going for a BKB himself now on the DK, and still is at the top of the net worth by a mile. Armel just hasn't stopped farming this game.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't, and that is going to pay off. Like, he is just escalating and escalating. He's going to have that surprise BKB, and that's going to cause major issues here for Cignal. They don't really have anything to really melt him through just yet. They are relying a lot on massive bursts from the Puck, from the Elder Titan. Their physical isn't quite there. They don't have their breakup yet. So this farm that Armel is accumulating will pay off massively.
Looks like Eris is just going to rush an Aghanim Scepter now on the Puck. We have seen a couple times, it just seems to be very effective in just locking everyone down during those engagements. Of course, double stun never hurt either. And Cignal, again, just keeping away from TNC, not wanting to risk anything right now. Gabby, of course, has the chrono up, so it's certainly not a very good time for Cignal to try and fight. Eris gonna get caught out of position, but Gabby will not pursue. Won't bother committing the chrono, he'll just leave this Puck alone. Van as well, just hiding in the tree line, not wanting to get caught out with his TNC side. They'll both end up just trading outposts with each other. KP trying to fight back. Grims will be a little bit too threatening on the Elder Titan. KP will leave a beat. But with all this time that TNC's had, they have a BKB up now on Gabby, so chances are you're not really going to be able to lock him down unless you get the jewel from the Legion Commander, and he will jump in and go ahead and try and take a Roshan. Whose mango tree is that, by the way?
Let me quickly
Well, it looks
check.
like it
That
was
is-
Signals, because Tim just took it out.
Yeah, it ought to be then, unless, you know, he's just playing hard mode. Which is a possibility, but highly doubtful.
Well, the Roshan's going, and Cignal knows it's going down. They are slowly making their way up. Smoke will come out in preparation for the attack that's sure to come from Cignal. Of course, you can just Echo Stomp to delay this as long as possible, and that Roshan getting very low now. Cignal, when do you make your jump? They'll continue to scout it out. Orb is there. Another Stomp to be thrown out, but it hits nobody. Gabby, of course, still has the Chrono and the Roshan going down, but there's the Puck. Eris, he gets the Aegis off the side of TNC. He will go down straight off the bat. Gabby, he committed the BKB in preparation to pick up the Aegis. Now Eris, can he get himself out? It looks like he probably will be able to, but no, there's a Dragon Tail coming out from Armel. They will be able to punish at least a little bit, but the rest of Cignal Ultra are just going to run. In fact, maybe not. They're going to go in. They found the Doom. KP just going way too far forward, and now Tims, he gets chained up. He does have one leap charge, but that's all he has. They should be able to burst him down, and they get the pounce as well. Nando will take him out. Now they're trying to fight back, take down Grims, and there's the chrono. It's a pretty nice one, but do they have the damage output? I don't believe they do. It looks like they are going to lose the Void. They will find at least one more in the form of the ET, but he buys back. March will go down as well. And it's just a disastrous fight for the side of TNC. They just lost everything in that Roshan pit.
It was a really big play coming out from Eris, just grabbing that Aegis, forcing TNC to try to find something from that pretty wonky exchange. They do find a couple of kills. They did force a buyback out on 2 heroes. They did get the die back on Eris in the end. It cost them 4 heroes, and that is a massive gold swing going back away of Cignal now. So they've got a way back in this game. Like, you have given a bunch of stats to Nando. You've given a lot of gold back their way. You've mitigated yourself down. You've kind of revealed your BKBs. You're down to 9 seconds. And this almost reminds me of the last game. Just how that one went. How one bad fight kind of evolved into something else. TNC has to really play on point here. They can't afford to slip up like that, because Cignal is the kind of team that will take that inch and try to push it into a mile.
Yeah, well, you look at that permanent agility now on Nando. He's gone up to 6. They basically got 3 or 4 more agility stacks on that Slarky. You've got to be careful about letting those build up. Nando casually just has 171 base damage right now. And, well, he'll take the mid-tier 1 tower. Just walk away.
Regeneration.
Of course, that net worth did go a little bit long for TNC. They had a 7k net worth advantage at the time before that Roshan fight, but now they are down to about 5k. Cignal would have got a fair bit of XP out of that as well. And yeah, there was quite a big dive back towards Cignal's way. So KP about to pick up a Blink Dagger now on that Doom. He just wants to make sure he can close the gap and perhaps just get the Doom off on that Ember. He is causing a lot of problems in these engagements. The Cignal smoked up. What do they go for? Gabby would be lovely to find, and well, they get the chains off, but where's the Jewel? There's the Dream Core, he commits BKB, but the Jewel comes out. They've got him locked down, but where's the follow-up damage? They just left him alone!
No. Why?
There's no chrono available.
Yeah, that was a strange decision from Cignal. Like, it looked like they were ready to commit. They did smoke up. They did go in with the Ember first, and they bail and van just like that. That's rather surprising. But in the end, I suppose that's a BKB charge for a Legion commander. They didn't get the dual win, so you know, you're kind of okay with Cignal. You're not going to be happy, but that could have gone so much worse, I guess.
Looks like just a bit of miscoordination from the side of Cignal Ultra. Still, 15 to 10, TNC's way. They do find that bot tier 1 tower thanks to Nando, so they're still finding objectives across the map for the side of Cignal. Nando will have that silver edge up quite soon. Just needs a recipe now. And all TNC. TPing down bot, trying to protect that outpost. KP blinks forward, but the Dream Core will come out from Eris. Still, the ensnare is going to be there, but that'll be the end of that. Cignal do happily back out. They'll probably just go and try to secure the other outpost on the northwest side. You finally see that Maelstrom as well popping up on Jamesy. It took a fair bit of time because he did opt to go for the Spirit Vessel first. Now you've got plenty of magic damage coming out from this Ember. They will indeed take that outpost before the 25-minute mark.
Should help them out just a bit. At the very least, the EXP is going to be split between Dire and Radiant, although
Moonlight Shadow will be there. Grimm's going to get stunned up by Armel, but they purge off the stun Grimm's. The arrow will not connect. Gabby has the Chrono this time around, and the Doom will be thrown out straight on that Legion Commander. Just make sure he can't throw out the Jewel. They found Grimm's. They even find Grimm's courier. No Chrono committal, of course, from Gabby. It wasn't required. And with that, TNC, where do you head? It looks like Jamesy will say bye-bye by giving him chains. Just gotta be careful. Gabby still has Chrono. Does Remnant back. Remnant's back again. Now again. And well, there's the ensnare. They purge that off. They've got to commit the Chrono, and they do. He found both of them as well. There's not much damage going on, but the arrow does connect to help out Nando. He pounces through the void, goes after March instead. The Shadow Dance, the stun through the Shadow Dance, and Nando just wants to get the hell out now. TNC, though, want to move forward. They found the Legion Commander once again. Van trying to run his way out, but the ensnare's there, and it looks like Van should end up falling, and does. TNC finding another positive engagement. They'll head over to the top lane where they want to get that tier 2 tower, it seems. Perhaps even another pick off on a hero if they can. Nando.
Jeez, that's brave.
He's very brave. He had the Dark Pack to purge off the stun, but it's definitely risky.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
They'll find the tier 2 top.
Cignal has to understand when they can force out these fights. When you know the Doom and the Chronosphere are down, that's when you should be going. This is the exact time that Cignal should be out there trying to find something to kill, because those big spells aren't around. So I would like to see a smoke come out, maybe when the Legion Commander does respawn, but that hasn't really paid out too well for Cignal just yet. They still need to maximize these moments. When the Chrono's down, when the Doom's down, that's when you really want to force these issues out.
They aren't doing so quite yet. 2 smokes available on Grimm's, but nobody really willing to go for it. This looks like Nando's just going to go straight into a Satanic up next on the Slark. Not really the Snowball Slark performance you would hope for if you were Cignal. But he has kept up in farm very well. Currently 2nd in net worth. Only 2nd to Armel. Both sides just switching out the outposts. You can see though, maintaining an AK net worth lead. And oh. John, TNC has a 100% win probability. Since the start? Excuse me?
This is the service you pay for, Mike. Yeah, no, it's showing the same thing for
From minute 0, they've had a 100% win probability. How does that work, Mr. Gaben?
Maybe Dota Plus knows something we don't. Apparently, this was just decided from the start. Predestined. So if TNC actually drops this, then, well, what does that say about Dota Plus, Mike?
I'll have to send an email, Mr. Gaben, have a chat about this, see how the AI is working if TNC do not win. That is the first time I've ever seen that. Apparently TNC's draft is just amazing. Unbelievable, in fact, just invincible. Well, TNC. Line's being drawn out by Cignal. Mid and bot lane, they want to go.
They've got to push, but now the Chronosphere and Doom are up, so this is the exact wrong time to force a fight.
Certainly is. March, though, going to get caught out on the champ, but he's just baiting for Gabby. Gabby runs in, gets another 3-man Chrono. The Slark jumped into it. Mel just going to melt him in that Chrono. Van still alive, still trying to run away, but he will eventually go down. And now they chase for more. They got the Doom on the Slark. They got the arrow. They found the Ember with the stun. Jamesy, can you get out? It looks like you can, thanks to the stomp of Crims. Eris, though, may not be so lucky. He does jaunt away. KP is continuing the chase, and Eris will just run to his death. Just waste as much time as possible. He's actually wasting a fair bit of time. Doesn't actually Jordan and TNC.
Oh, that was a... It's a good attempt.
So we have the Aghanim Scepter Doom out now, by the way.
Oh, they actually went for it this time.
Yeah?
Yeah, that is actually pretty nasty. I think in this case, up against a Slark, that is gonna hurt a lot. It just will. So, you've got this massive amount of damage, a good amount of stun, just consistently coming out now. It's gonna be annoying to deal with. Again, Cignal, they have to understand when to force these fights. You don't force it when Chronosphere and Doom are up. That's not the time to smoke up and find these kills. The moment to find those kills were about a minute and a half before that. Like, while it's on cooldown, that's when you should be on the hunt. But Cignal is kind of forced to take this bad timings. And it is costing them. It's a 13k net worth lead now for TNC, 31 minutes in, 11 to 21. They do smoke up, so this is a really good time if they can find someone.
They're going to find KP, Nando.
Radiant's middle tower is under
They just
attack.
back off. Roshan, Nando, pounces out of that. Alrighty then. They'll loop around, I suppose. They'll try again. Still, TNC, smoke on smoke action. They run straight into the Slark and they want to burst him down ASAP. Nice dream call comes out from Eris and now the stop as well. They're being controlled on the side of TNC and Gabby doesn't have the chrono available. It's a lot of damage so far, but nobody has dropped. They'll get KP on the Doom, but they are going to lose the Ember in the process. And in about 8 seconds, you'll have a chrono up, so Cignal, they want to get the hell out. Nando in a lot of trouble. He'll manage to run out of there. TNC, they might just go for a Roshan attempt. They are 2 heroes down, so it's not the safest time to try. In fact, they are still chasing Eris on the path, and they will manage to find him. 2 for 2 trade.
It is... I'd say it's still favorable for TNC there. Like, they managed to take out that Ember. They took that fight without having to expend Chronosphere and Doom because they weren't up yet. So now they can take the next fight with Chronosphere and Doom, and you're stuck in that same cycle for Cignal. You force a fight when those spells run on cooldown, you don't find anything big. The spells are off cooldown now, you have to play safe. And it's really TNC's game right now. They're just setting the pace of this game. They're under no pressure to really close it out just yet. They have so much room to escalate in all their heroes. And they've got control on the map. Cignal, they've got to find a way to really leverage this Slark. I don't think Nando's had the biggest impact just yet.
It certainly hasn't. Because now you've got an MKB up on Gabby, so he's going to be hitting like an absolute truck. The Moonlight Shadow up. Looks like they try, and yeah, they're going to go for the Roshan attempt. Gabby will get started. Still, they will scout it out with the ET Spirit. They've got to try and take this fight Cignal. They don't want to allow this to go down for free, so they'll keep tabs on it once again. We saw last time Eris was able to steal the Aegis. If I was Gabby, I'd probably make a slot right now in my bag for this Aegis, because he hasn't got one yet. Roshan bashing non-stop today. Armel will jump in, but Jamesy will be okay. Dream Call now will be on to, they'll break onto KP, and now the Earthsplit are flying in as well. The Roshan though so down low, Eris again jumping in, but Gabby's got the Aegis this time. Fool me once, fool me twice. He'll chase forward now. Van, Chrono, he will find the Slark, still press the attack, keeping him healthy, but not healthy enough, as Nando will end up dropping, and well, Gabby, he wants more. Bashing on demand to Van. Echo Stomp though, massive from Grims, just stopping them in their tracks, but Armel does not care, he wants to go high ground. Only problem is, there is still a tier 2 tower.
I mean, they find all the big kills they want, they manage to take that Aegis out, they still have the Doom up, they only expend a Chronosphere. So they can still force something out. And Cignal, their backs are up against the wall here. They're just consistently dropping in these fights. They have to find a way back in. I think one thing that's also causing issues is the fact that Jamesy went for the magical build. We're well past the point where that's effective. So he needs to try to retool himself or rush his level 25 and try to maybe work an Ags in if he wants to be relevant.
Well, the tier 2 tower now going to be forced down by TNC. Still Eris jumping in, KP looking for that Doom. Dreamcore will be there. Now Echo Snap is actually quite nice. It's a nice setup. They get the chains off as well. The Void stuck Gabby. He's getting very low, but he pops the BKB. Looks like that'll be enough. TNC do back out. The tier 2 tower though remains standing for Cignal, and they want to continue going for punishment. They see March on the Chen. They don't get the chains off though. So March will be fine. Meanwhile, Nando keeping tabs onto Armel. Gets the pounce off as well as the break, but the BKB TP is going to be there, and Armel will be perfectly fine as Van was not in range to get a jewel off.
It's going to be really hard for Van to get those duels off. Anyway, he doesn't have a blink, and we've seen a lot of Legion commanders do this. They just kind of don't get the blink, which really takes away from the kit. You can't go in and disable someone straight off the bat when you have no way of closing that gap.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
A 16k net worth lead for TNC though. Pretty darn good right now for this Dire side. Was very close to forcing this to a game 3.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Gabby now gonna start forcing down that bot tier 2 tower. They'll find it.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Cignal just kind of running around the map trying to push out the mid creep wave. TNC though, they have the chrono up. They may feel confident enough to just keep going for this tier 3, and that's exactly what they do. Armel pops the dragon form. He has a satanic available if he gets in trouble. We've seen this before with these DKs. They take these towers so darn quick. Nando shows himself on the Slark, but it looks like they aren't really willing to commit to defending this Rax. They'll fortify though. Now, Doom will be there. Who have they found? It is actually going to be Eris on the puck. So no Dream Call, no slippery puck in this team fight. TNC, well, now going after the Ember. It's actually a lot of damage, and now the Chrono as well. He caught the Ember. Get rid of him. Grim's kind of just standing there chilling out right now. Nando trying to fight back onto Gabby. He will heal up full HP, but TNC is still very healthy, and now they come back in. Armel, he gets his Dragon Tail off. Nando trying to run. Gabby not there in time. But it's okay for them, as they'll head off to mid. There is still a tier 2 tower remaining in the mid lane, but it looks like they should be able to take it down. Or maybe not. Backdoor protection, it won't matter.
Oh boy, TNC, they're just really finding every single thing here. They take out that bot set of racks really cleanly. They just back off. The rest of the high ground is open now as well. No more outer towers left for Cignal. And their shrines are going to be taken out fairly soon. They still have that one shrine down bot, but I'm sure TNC won't leave that up for long. 13 to 27 at around 39 minutes in. 23k net worth lead for TNC. Though the plus still 100%. Just dead 100 right from the start. Minute 0 TNC. Like, gosh, is it because they won a major? Is it immediately biased? Like, what is that?
We'll find out, sir. Cignal gonna smoke up. Armel, this could be a big pick, but no, he blinks at the perfect time. There was actually a sentry ward scouting out Nando, and they missed their opportunity. Again, this was a moment where Gabby didn't have the chrono up. TNC, they might go for a smoke even without the chrono. They just don't care. They'll move in. Cignal, can you pull off this team fight? They're so far behind. Any victory would mean a lot of golden XP going their way. Well, Armel jumps in, straight with the stun, onto that LC, and now the arrow as well. He does manage to force staff away, just barely, but Armel can't really get the damage out as the stomp is there. Meanwhile, a Doom in the backlines. They have found what looks like the Slark, and they do take him out. So that's one gone, the main source of damage. Now Eris going to be chased down by Armel. He'll get the kill onto 2 now. Jamesy got to be very careful to die on this Emma Spirit. He tries to Remnant away, but Armel is still on the chase. He'll Remnant forward even more, but they found the backlines. They've got Van on the LC. It's a 3-for-0 trade without the Chrono being used, and Gabby will now have it up.
That's a very scary prospect for Cignal. They need to somehow hold this high ground up against a Chronosphere without a buyback on their Slark and still somehow win out. And at the very least, James, he still has buyback if he does die. It's a rough time for Cignal.
TNC will get to work on that top racks. That'll be the secondary racks of the game going down. There's only one left in the mid lane. They'll buy back on Van. TNC. So they're going to go ahead and push in that mid creep wave a bit. There's no real need for them to rush, but they have the Chrono, so there's not really a reason for them to back off either. They do have the Doom up in 25 seconds on KP as well, so perhaps they just wait that out. Go for the Shrine first instead.
Radiant's bottom shrine has fallen.
Looks like the Satanic is now coming out onto Gabby as well. The only thing you're really lacking is an Aegis, but there is still a bit of time before Roshan is up. In fact, I say that, but it's actually a very quick Roshan. 15 seconds away. Cignal cannot afford to allow it to go down. It's so hard to fight. Like 30k net worth lead for TNC. How do you even fight into that? We're about to find out as Grims will get caught out on the Elder Titan. All you can hope for now is a defense from Cignal Ultra. As TNC make their way to that Roshan pit, the big man is up. They'll get started. Cignal will not be there to contest at all. So it's a free Roshan going the way of TNC. It looks like Jamesy was in a little bit of trouble, but he will remnant back towards his base.
That gives Armel his Ags as well from the Roche. So we've got the Black Dragon.
Black Dragon is out. This is a very, very painful experience coming from Cignal. It is very, very hard to stop that Black Dragon. We have found out over the past couple days. There it is once again. It's up and down the cliff. Backdoor protection, that's very funny. They are going to jump in though. Nando gets started on the Void. Does absolutely nothing though. Dream Call is in the back by Eris. Now March also being taken down by James, but he's not down quite yet. Now, who have they found there?
Oh.
It is Tim's on the Marauders. That's a good start. Now the Earth Splitter flying through. KP losing half his HP, and Armel though just man fighting back. He'll take down the Elder Titan, and now the Chrono. Gabby found 3 of them after respawning with the Aegis, and it looks like that may make it game. The buybacks are coming out, but can they really defend this final lane of racks? It doesn't look like they can, as they will lose the LC now with no buyback available. And that is Mega Creeps coming up for TNC. They head straight towards the tier 4s, but the GG has been called by Nando. And that will mean we go to a Game 3 for this lower bracket decider.
Yeah, that's a good sign of life coming out from TNC. They definitely play this one much better. I guess Dota Plus was right, Mike. That was 100% TNC from minute 0. We'll see whether or not Cignal can turn that around in game number 3. That's do or die for them. Of course, if they drop, they still have the minor qualifiers to play for, but you really want to get into those majors. And Cignal, they're very hungry for it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything we learned this game is everyone should just pay for Dota Plus, right? That's all it is. If you want to know who's
Oh.
going to win, don't even bother watching the stream. Just buy Dota Plus and you'll find out the easy way. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. It is MLP Dota and John X Fire. Game number 3 probably will start in about 10 to 15 minutes. I'll put a timer up once we are in lobby. But we'll see you guys again very soon for that final game of the night.